You ready?
Well, I'm still laughing at you. That's the thing. Wait. I just want to get it out of my system first. Let's go.
How's it, guys? Welcome back to Break at the Apex podcast, your favorite F1 fans who just love to chat about F1. This is your race review for Jeddah 2023. And before we get into the chat about how good Ferrari is and how bad Red Bull is, let's just get into a little bit of a how are you? So here's my friend BT alongside me or under me or on top of me or wherever you're watching this. He will be somewhere on the screen. So BT, how are you doing?
Personally, I'm good. F1 related stuff, not so good, sir. Not so good.
Okay, it's fine, and we'll jump into all of that soon. If for those of you who don't know, obviously BT's a Ferrari fan, so he's quite excited about this episode, obviously. So, but by the way, I was just looking, just unrelated really to Ferrari, but I was posting something earlier, and you know when you post something then on Instagram or whatever, then you do those hashtags. So I put a hashtag Oscar for Oscar Piastri, and I went Oscar PI for Piastri. And did you know that Oscar Pistorius comes up before him now? And you know, but you know, it's usually that whoever has the most posts made about you comes up about. And I was actually just thinking, it makes sense because they're both handicapped. Let's be honest, McLaren's not really
Wow.
In the best place at the moment, and I know I don't know if I've got if there's any Pistorius fans out there. I hope not really. But the point is that if that joke was a bit too much, I really apologize. But I just found it funny that Piastri didn't have more posts about him than Pistorius. I mean, come on, man. Anyways, let's get straight into it. So before we get into the race review, let's just have a little bit of fun. For any of you that don't know us, I'm Graham, and this is BT from Break at Apex. We've already said that stuff. Basically, we love F1. We talk F1 all day, every day. That's just our thing. Please, if you can, if you like F1, please pop us a follow or a subscribe, whatever platform you're on. We would really, really appreciate all the help. We'll give you a lot of F1 content, a lot of F1 memes, a lot of F1 funny skits, a lot of F1 updates, and so on. We are pretty much on top of it as best as we can. So if you love your F1, please pop us a follow and a subscribe and whatever other words you can use. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, go get it. Click on it. Thanks, guys. I would really appreciate that. Anyways, let's have some fun first. Before we get straight into the race review, let's just give people watching a little bit of a smirk. We'll try and make them laugh, but if we can at least make them smile, that would be perfect. So I'm going to kick it off with a would you rather. I'm going to give you two, but we'll obviously do one at a time. This first one I've asked you off camera before, and I'm not certain that I got an answer from you. I think I might have, but let's just let the people decide. I've also put this on TikTok as well, but I'm going to ask you again. And then also I'll also answer just to keep it fair. So, right. So would you rather finish every race second and come second in the champion? No, sorry. Would you rather come second in every championship that you compete in, every single championship that you compete in? Or would you rather come last in every championship that you compete in, but one where you actually win it? So you'll win the championship once, but you come last every other year that you compete, or you come second every year?
I'll come second every year.
Okay. Any thought behind that, or is that just off the top of your head?
I mean, the thought behind it is that imagine you win a championship maybe in your fourth season as a driver, and maybe on average you have a 15-year career, and the rest of those years you're coming last. And And the reason also behind that is when I look at Alonso, he has 2 championships and he's consistent. So his consistency is his 3rd championship, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because he won championships 2004, 2005. It's 2023 now, and he has 2 podiums. For Aston Martin. Last year for Alpine, he was doing great. So I'll come second every year, unfortunately. Yeah, fortunately enough.
Yeah, so but unfortunately, Alonso is a different case because he's a bit of an he's a bit of an animal. He's got a 20-year long career, so that's quite hectic. Cool. So my answer is also, so I've asked a lot of people this, and a lot of people, the majority says a win will always be remembered, and so they'll always go for that. My thing is, I'm like you. I prefer the consistency. And if you came second every single year of your career, I think people would remember you. We look at Sterling Moss, David Coulthard. They've never won a championship, but yet people talk about them. You know what I mean? So I would probably do the second as well, because I think coming last would just every year it would just be a pain. How you would do that without getting fired, I don't know, but it would just be painful.
Of course.
Anyways, let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. We've got, would you rather have Latifi as your number 1 driver or have Mazepin as your development driver? So you either have the one develop the car for you, or you have the other one as your number 1 driver. So I don't know. You tell me.
I'll choose the first option because I can actually get rid of him after a season. So, I'll choose the first one. Yeah.
That's like Helmut Marko-esque type behavior there, but fair enough. Okay. So for me, I'm going to say, I'll take Latifi as a number 1 over Mazepin as a development driver. I think the reason being is, no matter how bad you are, if you've got a good car, you should be able to pick up points. I just don't see Mazepin being able to develop you a good car. I think that's where my head is at the moment. You know what I mean? So I'd rather have Daniel Ricciardo developing the car and Latifi driving it.
Oh wow, the bias.
Well, he is a development driver at the moment, so I'm just using it as an example. But then again, if you had Daniel Ricciardo developing your car, I don't see why you'd have Latifi driving it. But the rules are, Latifi is your number 1 driver, or Mazepin is your development driver. No such thing as Daniel Ricciardo coming in. Anyways, that's my take on it. Great. Cool. And okay, cool. So let's go for a new segment that we're going to pull in now. So this is basically sign, reserve, and fire, which most people will know as a shag, marry, kill. So sign, reserve, fire is just my little F1 version, I guess. It might not be as funny, I guess, or as fun, but I think it would be as difficult, and I think it would spark some good conversation. So let's give it a go. For today, I picked the 3 friends, friends that came in at the same time. I think it's quite difficult, to be honest. Russell, Norris, and Albon. Who you signing? Who you reserve driving? Who you going to make as your reserve driver? Who you going to sign as a number 1 driver? And who you going to fire? Russell, Norris, or Albon?
I'm thinking here. Sign Russell. I'll sign Russell.
Okay.
Ooh, it's difficult. Give me a moment.
Right, so while you're thinking about that, I'm going to go ahead and do it just because I made it. I've already thought about it, so I know what I decided. So I'm going to fire Russell because the guy's just, I don't know, man. Like, if I'm honest with you, I liked him when he came into F1, but I feel like he's just gotten a bit arrogant for me. But also those eyes, they just, I don't know, they drain my soul.
Yeah.
Then I'll make Albon my reserve driver, and then Norris will be my signed driver, just because I think Norris is good, man. He's the Max Verstappen of McLaren. Unfortunately, doesn't deserve to be with McLaren. McLaren doesn't deserve to have him. Let's put it that way. I think given a better car, Norris would do a great job. And he's grown up a lot. I know Russell beat him in F2. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, but Russell beat him in F2. I don't care. It's a new era. It's a new car, type of car. Norris has grown up a lot. He's done a great job. And although Piastri is going to give him we'll chat about that later. But that's who I'm going with. Give me yours.
I mean, obviously, me and you will go in different directions now. Obviously, outside Russell, I think is stop smiling or smirking. I think on my angle, it's purely based on his experience at the moment. I think he has done well in Mercedes. It's not easy being Lewis Hamilton's teammate, bro. He's a 7-time world champion. He's a legend of the sport. And I feel like he has come into that team and he has proven that he can deal with pressure. So
and he can keep up pace-wise.
Yeah, he can keep up. He's fast. He's fairly fast. And if I'm going to start a team or have to choose from those bunch of drivers, I would select him because this easy second seat. Norris has not gone to another team before. So we don't know how his performance will be on another team. So that's why I would choose Norris as my reserve driver. He's very good. I think he knows the sport. He's very fast. I think he knows what he's doing in terms of giving feedback to the mechanics and to the team. So that would help me a lot with tuning up the car and optimizing the car as well during the season. And of course, Albon, no, we don't want you. You're fired. So
that's a bit rude. He's a nice guy. Why are you so harsh? Jeez.
He dyed his hair blonde. You can never trust guys that dye their hair blonde.
Okay, fair. Yeah, I'll accept that as your reason. The poor guy, shame. But in any case, cool. Cool. I get it. I understand. I definitely think you're wrong, but it's fine. I guess my team is winning. But it's fine. Any of you at home that want to get involved, pop in the comments what you would do. I think that would be very interesting to see what people would do at these three. I'd be very interested to see. Can I speak English today? Jeez. I'd be very interested to see the reasons people have, because sometimes people can come up with some crazy things. Anyways,
some people even choose like Albon, dude, as a sign. You never know. People are weird
because he's a nice guy, dude. That's why. Nice guys win.
We need to win races, dude. Oh, nice guy. There's no nice guys in Formula One, so yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's move on to the race review. And maybe this is the part that people are tuning in for. This is maybe the part that people want to hear. So let's start off with the race itself. And I'm my caption, and I think we should do this every week where we each have a caption about the race. That would be your caption. I'm actually going to type this. And if you're listening and you hear me croaking my throat, I really apologize. I'm going to try and edit the sound out when I do that. But Cape Town weather is changing a lot, and it's catching me a bit off guard here. Cool. So my caption of the race, basically, what's with all the penalties, all the position penalties, and so on, like Ocon and then Alonso? I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. All of a sudden, I've never seen this happen ever. And then all of a sudden, 2 races, Ocon, bam, Alonso, bam. Like, what's going on? I don't know. I don't know if it's really good, but at the same time, it is shown on the camera they are out of position. But surely this has been happening all along. Surely this can't be 2 races in a row that it's happened and it never happened before. That doesn't make sense. Surely it's been happening all along. And why now are they only clamping down on it?
I mean, to be honest with you, I did watch qualifying, and I think in Jeddah itself, the track limiting thing, it is a thing there. Like I think Sargent, he had a fastest lap during Q1, and they took away his lap because of track limits and stuff like that. Do you like on my side, to be honest with you? Do Formula One really need to focus on stuff like that, like track limits, position, and stuff like? Can't it be like a rule where they can take it out or not really take it that seriously, or are drivers and teams really gaining an advantage from that? Do you understand what I mean?
Well, I mean, I can't see them.
A major advantage. In other words.
I can't see major advantages coming out of this. So basically, what happened with Logan Sargent is there's that white line, the pit lane. You're not allowed to touch that line. And I mean, that's like the stupidest thing to really get a penalty for, or to have a lap time deleted for, because it's going in. It's going in. It's not coming out of the pits. It's not like you're going to smack somebody going in the pits. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If you're going at that pace, the person going into the pits is probably slowing down at that point. So he's not going to come flying past you. You know, you're going to be probably faster. So to me, that doesn't make sense. But you know what? When it comes to track limits, let's get into that later. I can almost assure you, come Austria, we're going to have that conversation because I think it's every year. I think the best way to stop the track limits is to put more gravel on, less runway. Because at the end of the day, the track limits are just annoying. But at the same time, the drivers have proven that they can keep inside. So why don't they just stay inside? I think that's the most important thing. But we'll have a chat about that when it comes up. I think for now, I'm more worried about the whole off-the-grid position at the start of the race. But in any case, let's carry on with the race review. So the first point I just wanted to bring up was Alonso's penalty and Ocon's penalty, and then the second thing I wanted to bring up about this race in particular was the safety car. Now, I would like to know why that safety car came out, because Stroll, very well done to him. Actually, he literally got that car off the track and he actually turned it in out of the track. So I don't really understand where the safety car came from.
Yeah. I mean...
Actually, I know where it came from. I know where it came from. I just don't understand how they could make that mistake. Again, it's just, and we'll get into this later, but again, it's just another FIA blunder. But we'll get into FIA a bit later. But basically what they said was the GPS was showing that the car was still on the track. But I mean, there's cameras all over. Surely they could see, like, you know, or does the GPS trigger the thing? I don't know how that works, but I don't know. It just seems a bit unnecessary, and I just think there's a few things they might need to consider changing there, because if the GPS is going to be wrong, somebody should at least be able to override it and say, okay, but he is off the track, so let's just override the GPS because we can clearly see he's off the track. Because let's be honest. Doesn't matter how much we praise Max for going from 15th to second, how much we praise Tsunoda from picking up 5 to 6 extra positions throughout the safety. The point is, had that safety car not been there, that wouldn't have happened, which would have then benefited the other drivers and not the drivers that, you know what I mean? Like, somebody's gonna benefit, but it becomes unfair when people benefit out of something that wasn't supposed to happen. I should really learn how to speak English before I start this podcast, because I'm really struggling. Jeez.
But yeah, I know you're making good points there, to be honest with you. You're making good points. I mean, now the thing is, the safety car also affects the result of the race, to be honest with you. You do get a bit upset or a bit emotional for a fan's point of view, because I'm like thinking now, maybe if that didn't happen, then Ferrari will probably be on top of Mercedes in that situation. But obviously, they chose to have the safety car, and that just changed everything in the race as well. But don't you think sometimes I know I'm being like mythical here, but don't you think that sometimes they do just bring the safety car for the sake of twisting the plot of the race or the results of the race? Sometimes I'm not saying like it's like
Michael
how can
Massey.
I put it? Like they're doing something illegal or anything like that, but it's like
they're just trying to make the race exciting almost. Yeah.
There we go. I was about to say that. Yeah. Don't you think that way, or is it that it's mandatory for them to call the safety car if something like that happens? It doesn't matter if the car is in the circuit for not the whole car, but parts of the cars in the circuit or part of the cars in the circuit.
So I mean, I agree with what you're saying. It makes sense what you're saying. I just don't see why they would do it on purpose though. But it does make sense. Like if you believe in conspiracies, it's one of those that kind of makes sense. But Jeddah has never. I mean, we've had 3 races now in Jeddah. There's been a safety car at each one of them now. But if you think about it, this race was quite clean. If you consider that the one time we did have a safety car, it didn't really need to be a safety car. So it was actually a pretty clean race. But then again, Latifi's not here, so I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Wow.
Sorry. Anyways, let's move on to Red Bull. That's just the race events that I wanted to cover. 2 race events I wanted to cover. When we move over to Red Bull, that car's ridiculous, man. I'm not even gonna lie. When Max went past the Haas, the Ferrari, the Mercedes, it was kind of like he was driving a Bugatti Veyron and they were driving like a City Golf. That's how it looked. Like he just looked, dude. It was just I can't explain it. As I was sitting, I was watching this, and I've got my little WhatsApp F1 group, and as I was sitting watching this, and I saw it happen, I was just like, I looked at my phone, I just typed, "This car is absolutely ridiculous." Like, I was just so it's, and I mean, even Lewis Hamilton has said that he said in the press car, I don't know when it was, sometime this weekend, that he said that it's the fastest car he's ever seen. So it's like, this is coming from a person who had the most dominant car for about 7 years, and he was even saying like, not one of our dominant years were we that much faster than the team behind us. So it's quite an interesting take coming from him, and I can't really seem to disagree with him, because I can't really seem to remember a year where the gap was so huge. I mean, that car looked like we joke about it being a rocket ship, but that was a rocket ship for real, bro. Like, seriously.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I remember you texted me and saying they're having issues and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, these people don't even look like they're having issues. They just continue with their business. So if that car can still be that fast with a couple of issues, we are in trouble, to be honest with you. For me, I'm gonna be very, very like out of line now, or make a bold statement. The season is over, bro. The season is over. Like,
it's not over, bro. There's still Checo and Max that can fight this out.
I don't think Checo will give him a run for his money. To be honest with you, Checo is fast in certain tracks. Verstappen is fast.
Yeah. He's fast everywhere.
I don't know. I beg to differ, Graham. To be honest with you, yes.
Checo is fast on street tracks, is what I'm saying. Max is fast everywhere.
Of course, he is. And Jeddah is a street track, a caged one. Looks like a prison from the inside. But I'm with you. That car is unbelievable. It's fast.
Yeah.
We're in for a season. If we could actually go for 7 years just watching Mercedes dominate the sport, I think we can watch Red Bull dominate the sport for another 3 seasons or so. But yeah, I have nothing more to say, to be honest. That car is unbelievable. Again, 1 and 2.
I feel like besides DNFs, I feel like 1 and 2 Red Bull every race is quite on the cards, to be quite honest. I mean, that's DNFs aside, obviously. I just feel like if nobody, I just think the gap is quite big. So it's going to take quite a few upgrades for people to catch up if Red Bull aren't making upgrades. You know what I mean? And I don't see Red Bull not making upgrades right now. I mean, they've already said they're going to come up with an upgrade. So I don't know. I think it's a 1-2 for Red Bull this season. Looks pretty much clear on our predictions for every week. So we'll have to see how it goes. Obviously, for Max this weekend, the safety car helped him tremendously. I don't particularly think he would have needed it. I don't think he would have needed it, but it certainly got him there quicker. But I don't think he needed it really.
I mean, by lap 5, I'm not mistaken, lap 6 he was 11th already. So by 11th, 10th,
something like that. Yeah. Well, by halfway through the race, he had already gotten to the front.
Bro, by the time he got to the middle pack, the Leclercs, the Lewis Hamiltons, and the Russells, I didn't even try to say that they're going to delay him a bit or it's going to be a battle. As you said, that you just drove past like there were city cars. Yeah. But it was sad to see, to be honest with you. But
it was sad for somebody. It wasn't sad. It wasn't particularly sad for me, to be honest. But I mean, it was. I just found it really unreal how fast those cars are. But look, we've got to give Perez some props. He did show some really good pace. Even when Max got to the front, he was catching Perez at times, but then he would slip back a bit and then he would catch it. But, the thing with Max, we'll never know. Max is one of those drivers that I feel like he could just go faster whenever he wants. And I do feel that the team were messing him around. And I think that at one stage they said to him he mustn't push, and then they told him he must push. And then when he wanted to go for the fastest lap, then they said, Max, we're not concerned with that right now. And then he said, but I'm concerned about that. It was hilarious. I loved it. But speaking of that, Perez did well, but they're really going to have to manage those two properly because, the team themselves need to manage the situation properly because something as simple as what happened last night in the race, it didn't have anything to do with the drivers if you think about it. The team orchestrated whatever happened. And so, for example, if you looked in the cool-down room, Checo had no idea that the fastest lap got taken away from him and that it was Max that took it away. Because the last that Checo heard, they had told Max that he had to stick to his 1:33, time. So that could cause a feud between the drivers, yet the drivers weren't at fault for any of that reason. It was a case of like the team told Max don't push, and then they told Max, okay, Max, you can push. You know what I mean? So look, at the end of the day, they're dealing with two. I won't say big heads. They're dealing with two egos. One is a champion driver already, a double world champion driver. The other one is somebody who's hungry to win a championship because he doesn't have much time left in his career, and I think he's a good driver. I think he could be championship material. I just don't think he can beat Max on pure merit, but we'll have to see how that goes. But I think at the end of the day, that the team's going to have to manage them quite well because I feel like the two of them are going to blow up pretty soon if the team don't manage it correctly. But then Daniel Ricciardo's there to fill in if it happens. I mean, I'm okay with that really, but it's just, Anyways, anything you want to add to Red Bull?
Yeah, no.
I know you're a bit hard. I know you're heartbroken, so it's fine. We can move on.
Yeah, no. Great. Two races so far, 1 and 2. I'm excited if they could really fight for the championship amongst themselves. It'd be good to see that Rosberg and Hamilton season again. They were quite cool to see. So let's see what happens in the next race and a few races to come.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's move over to Aston Martin. It's a tale of two halves. It's a difficult one for me because I was watching them quite closely because we have to nowadays, and I quite enjoy watching them. I'm not going to lie. First of all, I've got to say, before Stroll went out, he had this really amazing overtake on Carlos Sainz.
You started again.
Bro, I'm just saying, it was such an under-noted. They just said, "Oh, Stroll, amazing overtake," and that's that. Nobody said nothing, and I thought, if Max made that overtake, everyone was going crazy on that, bro, because that was an amazing overtake around the outside. Dude, that was an amazing overtake. Anyways, the point is that it just shows you, and I think that this is a genuine thing. I mean, it's not even a joke, but it just shows you that Stroll is up for the challenge, and he does want. He's got the racecraft to actually push forward. Which I think a lot of people don't really often see of him, because let's be honest, race directors aren't great when you're at the back of the grid. So nobody ever really sees Stroll making overtakes, whereas now we actually see his racecraft because the camera's on him. So I know he didn't make it in the race, but up until the point where he did end the race, he did a phenomenal job, and that overtake was superb. It was beautiful. It was just amazing. We've already covered Alonso's penalty at the start of the race, but obviously he then got that other penalty, which came 2 years later, and the race had finished. I watched pretty much an entire season of Drive to Survive at that point, and then they were like, "Oh, sorry, you got a penalty, and you don't get the podium anymore." But then Aston Martin appealed, and then he got the podium back again, and then I'm like, okay, so I'm so confused. For a content creator, that's the worst nightmare, to wake up in the morning to know that at 1:00 in the morning they announced that he got it back and you missed it. So everybody else that's awake in Australia has posted already.
Yeah.
It was such a nightmare. But let's just get onto it, quickly. Just we don't have to harp on it too much, but it just looks like, Ferrari have passed that clown battens over back to FIA, and FIA have just become the clowns again. They were 2 years ago. It just seems to be the case again. It's just an unnecessary thing. First of all, why would they have taken so long to get to the first penalty, and then they took it away and then reversed it? Fine, I understand. It's the first time that I've actually seen an appeal work, to be fair, so well done to Aston Martin.
Yeah.
But my point is, why did it take them until the end of the race to give that penalty? It just made no sense.
I mean, to be honest with you, you are right. That is quite confusing. And I'm also shocked that his appeal actually was granted, because I saw on Instagram in the morning that he got P3 back. So I guess we experienced the same thing as well. FIA is...
The good news is that we both sleep at the same time, I guess.
Yeah, but FIA is...
If it matters to anybody.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, but FIA, it's... Sometimes... I'm thinking it might be the bloopers of the week for this week, eh? I'm probably going to say FIA because...
Hey, man, that's your
some
thing.
Some of the decisions they make are very, questionable. But I'm glad that Aston Martin actually won that appeal. But on my side, in terms of how Aston Martin performed on the race, I'm getting to a point now where they're expected to be in the top 3, to be honest.
Yeah.
They are showing exactly what they they are about. The performance of the car is quite fast.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with Stroll. Yeah, of course, it was a brilliant overtake. I watched it a couple of times. I just need him to understand. I just need him to understand now that he's in a good car, and he needs to score points, because Aston Martin now, the constructors are in second position, and if they want to keep that position, they need to be able to be in the top 3 or top 5 every race. Can you imagine if they actually come second in the constructors by the end of the year? They were able to actually get good money to actually optimize that car to maybe be a contender for the next year. So so for Stroll, he needs to be consistent. He needs to be right there with Alonso. We know Alonso's going to give us the consistency, but Stroll needs to also now realize that he's not driving at the back anymore, or he's not in the middle. He's at the top now, bro. He's at the top now.
And I'll say they second, and Stroll didn't even score points yesterday because of his car. Yeah. So I mean, if he had scored points, they wouldn't be too far behind. But I'm not too worried about it. I'll be honest. I've told you before, he's an underrated driver to me. He scored points in the past when he scored points in the. He scored points in the past when it was asked of him, and I don't think he has a problem with scoring points. So yeah, not much more to add there. I think Aston Martin clear second. I think this is what we needed. We needed the second race to see if they were really that good or if it was just Bahrain. But then again, Australia is also again technically a very different track. So we'll see it different. If they do well next week again, then we know they clear seconds at this point in time. Second.
To be honest, Bram, sorry to cut you off, but to be honest, if you see how Aston Martin was last year compared to now, everything is clean. There's no mistakes. The pit stops are quite a reasonable time. They were very experienced. I'm not saying Vettel was not an experienced driver, but Vettel is not Alonso. Let's just face it. Vettel, I think last year was just he was heading to retirement now. He wasn't still thinking that he might win another championship. But Alonso has that thing that he wants to win another championship at that age. So they actually chose the right driver to... Yeah, and it's a different team now. Alonso just came with a different energy, to be honest with you. And now they're more urgent. Everything is smooth. They have the best team, or the best set of drivers, where you have an experienced driver and you have like a driver that's not so experienced but he has potential, as Graham says. I didn't say that. But they're going to do well. They're going to do well. But
he does have potential, man. I'll be honest with you. I just, if you consider he was in a Ferrari academy, bro, you don't just get into a Ferrari academy if you don't have potential. So somebody had seen something in him. Whether his dad got him into the sport or not, somebody saw something in him. I see it. I've always said in the past that I take the mick out of him sometimes, but I take the mick out of everybody. As a Red Bull supporter, even when they struggle, sometimes I take the mick out of them. It's just part of who I am. I think it's just part of the fun. But at the end of the day, I do still think he's good enough to be in F1 and good enough to be in a good car. I'm not saying he's going to go and win a championship, but he's certainly a good enough second driver to have. Speaking about Vettel and Alonso, they both have driven for Ferrari before. So you see, I'm trying to work on these segues. I'm trying to work on anyways, let's move on. Ferrari. So basically, they've both driven for Ferrari before, and that's the next one we're gonna talk about. And I'm going to keep it pretty short and sweet from our side. Short and sour from our side.
Wow.
I don't mean I have two small things to say, which I think were two very good positives to take out of this. The one thing not so positive, where I feel like if I'm really honest with you, Merc made it look easy. For a car that was nowhere a week ago, they kind of made it look easy this weekend, beating them quite convincingly, in my opinion. I don't particularly think that Ferrari looked at all close to Merc, even when they were in the fight together. It just seemed like Merc wasn't struggling with them. It wasn't their race, basically. So that's a bit of a downside. And where that pace has gone all of a sudden from last week to now, I'm just so confused, because they had the pace last week. They just didn't have the reliability or the strategy because the tires and so on. But this weekend, it just disappeared completely. So I'm not really sure what happened, but it's quite sad.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you as well. My caption I'm going to have a caption for this one as WTF. Pace was gone. I'm going to go into qualifying as well. I know we're speaking about the race, but I feel like qualifying is part of the race because it measures where you're going to start. Leclerc gave qualifying his all. He had the pace there. Unfortunately, he had that grid penalty, so he had to start at the back. I don't know what Sainz was doing, and we spoke about it. I don't know where he was.
Sainz seems to be on a bit of a spiral. I'm not really sure what's going on with him. He came into Ferrari with such a bang in his first year. He did so well, and then all of a sudden, it just seems like he can't get to grips with the car. It's very odd.
I think maybe this year's car he can't get grips of. I think last year's car, he went like from he got his groove during the season. So I'm thinking now, is it going to be the same thing this year, where he's going to get his groove back during the season, and later in the season where it's too late and we maybe fourth on the drivers' construction table?
Yeah, constructors, yeah.
Understand? So, also on my side, I don't know where the pace went, to be honest with you. They were much faster in the rain, obviously. We know that the result of that race. But this race here, it was very hard to watch. And I know me and you spoke on WhatsApp during the race. And I don't know now are they trying to bring the upgrade sooner than later? Or they're going to stick it out for a bit, maybe after see how Melbourne is, see how they do there. It is a different track, see how they do, and take a leap forward after that. But
if I'm honest with you, I think they're one of the teams that haven't really announced any upgrades yet. I could be wrong, but I don't think I've seen any upgrade announcements from them. I've seen Red Bull, Aston Martin, and Merc have all said that they're bringing upgrades in Imola and Australia, but I haven't heard anything from Ferrari. But anyways, the two small positives I wanted to bring up was one, Sainz in the race held his own. Leclerc couldn't get past him or couldn't catch up to him. So I think Sainz in the race sort of did well, but it just goes to show you more how sad it is, because as well as he did, he still couldn't get to the Mercs. So a tough one there. But he held his own, so that was good, because it kind of contradicts what I said just now about him struggling. In this particular race, he actually did okay, if you consider that. And then Leclerc, I loved his little bit of sassiness. He had a bit of sassiness on the radio, and the first thought in my mind was, yep, this guy's definitely broken up with his girlfriend, because he had so much sassiness. I haven't seen that in him. That's what you need from a champion driver, man, because it's like, I can't remember what happened, but I think it was somebody that was coming through. There was somebody in front of him, and Leclerc was just like, "Hey guys, but you guys need to tell me when this is going to happen." And then Xavi, I think is engineer.
Yeah.
He was just like, sorry about that, mate. Sorry about that, mate. And then Leclerc's like, no, but come on, man. Like he was proper angry with him at that point. Like, and it's good because you need that. We're gonna need that in him moving forward. We're gonna need that. So I thought that was quite good. But look, let's not harp too much on about Ferrari. I think all jokes aside, they genuinely in a bit of a pickle. Well, let's just see how it unfolds. Maybe it's not over yet. Let's just see how it unfolds. Let's move on quickly to Merck. Again, I don't have much to say about them. I want to say they took a step forward, but I kind of feel like Ferrari took a step back more than they took a step forward. So I think that's just one of those things. Another team, though, another team that's going to have to be careful on how they manage those drivers because, again, I can see that relationship blowing up if they don't manage it correctly. When Lewis Hamilton came through, again, I can't particularly. I mean, this was yesterday. I can't particularly remember the full course of it, but I do remember that Hamilton was a bit faster. Then they asked George if they could swap, and then George said no because Alonso's got a penalty. And then they said, but George, he's already set his penalty. And then George also with that bit of sassiness is like, yeah, well, this is something you guys are supposed to be telling me. but then all of a sudden George pulled away. So whether he was holding pace, I don't really know. And if he was holding pace, then that's quite bad that they didn't tell him because then he was holding pace for nothing instead of pushing. So again, I don't know, and I don't particularly think that Lewis was Hamilton. I don't think Lewis was Hamilton with that. I don't think Lewis was happy with that because at the end of the race, they asked him about George. They said, yeah, but you should be quite positive about George's podium. Now, last year, when George did well, he was praising the kid, This time around, when they said that, he said, it doesn't really concern me. It's got nothing to do with me. I mean, it's good for the team, but it's got nothing to do with me, Last year, he would have praised him. Last year, every time George did well, he said, yeah, no, this kid's doing very well, and it's very good to have him. Now, it's got nothing to do with me. It is good for the team, but it's got nothing to do with me. So I do think it's another team that's going to have to find a way to manage the drivers properly because I think that can blow up quite quickly as well.
Yeah, I know you have a point there. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton still has that number one driver mentality. It's never going to go away. And George is just that hungry driver as well. Wants to prove himself in the team. And he wants that speed for a very long time as well. But obviously, you said that Mercedes should view the race as they got lucky because of Ferrari just losing pace. And they could steal a couple of points from them as well. And, they should just be happy and move into the next race. That's all I have to say, to be honest with you.
Yeah, short and sweet. That makes sense. All right, so look, we're just going to cover those top four teams, and then we'll just cover the best, the rest of the field. We'll cover the rest of the field as just a few things to mention here and there. The reason why I think it's best for us to do it that way is because it will take us forever if we must go through everybody. But on the rest of the field, it's usually not a lot that's really talked about or that needs to be talked about. I've just got three things that I quickly want to mention, and I'm going to mention all of them, and then you can give me your thoughts. First of all, I just want to say Williams have definitely made a step up. Logan Sargent has been quite impressive. He did lose the play. He did lose the place to Norris, but if you consider before Albon went out, he was right behind him, like literally right behind him, keeping up. At one stage, it was almost looking like he would have gone for points. He was trying to take the Haas's. The Hasses. I'm from South Africa, bro, so I'm gonna say the Hasses. It's funny, right? It's funny because Haas in Afrikaans, in South Africa, Afrikaans is a language, and a Haas is a rabbit. And there's a Duracell in the back of the Williams, and you know that the bunny from Duracell. I don't really know where I'm going with this, but there has to be something.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay. I don't. I'm just saying that there was a bunny Duracell trying to overtake the bunny in front. I don't know where I was going with that. But the point I'm trying to make is, well done to Williams. Although Logan eventually did lose places, I think for a lighty that hasn't really won much, 2 races now, he's done a phenomenal job for a car that's not really all that great, but it's definitely not the worst car on the grid. Which brings me to the second point. The new Williams of 2023 is McLaren. They're just having a nightmare. The first 2 races have been a nightmare. They just can't seem to get anything right. And it's proving to be quite a difficult situation for them. And on pace, they're not that bad. They've got a bit of pace. Piastri put it into Q3, did very well. Unfortunately, he couldn't keep his nose clean. If you know what I mean. And his nose got taken off. And that's just one of those things. I will say, though, at the end of the race, it was only for 16th position. But Piastri and Norris were fighting for it. And Piastri actually got the better of Norris. I don't know if Norris had any issues at all. But for a rookie against Norris, who completely dominated and annihilated Ricciardo, well done to Piastri, because that just shows you that McLaren's move to get a guy like Piastri was good. It wasn't good for the car because they've just spent 20 million on Ricciardo to pay him out when they could have developed the car for 20 million extra.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's a good no that going for Piastri was the right call as a driver. If that car does come right, having Piastri would be a good thing, because that's to take on Norris as a rookie. That's very good.
No, indeed. I mean, some with Williams as well. As we spoke about it, I think 2 weeks ago, that they've jumped a bit. To be honest with you, they are looking good. I was impressed with Sargent as well. His pace was right there, and I look forward to watching him and see what he's going to do with that car.
Yeah,
McLaren's a sad situation. I mean, me and you have been speaking about rumors that about Norris, if he should start looking for another seat and maybe not sign an extension with McLaren. But the thing is now is that we don't even know where McLaren will be in the next few years. They might have a good car, they might not. But the race itself, didn't really bother myself watching them because I knew that they were not even part of the midfield. They were not even close to the Alpines. So I wasn't really paying attention to them. But surely for Norris, it was a difficult race. He's not used to being at the back. He's used to fighting for podiums or fighting for 4th or 5th. So hopefully they will be able to at least get themselves out of that gutter they're in or that hole that they're in, and then be able to fight in the midfield, maybe fight with the Alfa Romeos and the Alpines. And work themselves up.
Alpine looked pretty good, though. Alpine looked pretty good. Gasly and Ocon both.
Alpine is always there, to be honest with you. They're always going to be up there. Top 10 is usually where Alpine usually sits. Your 8th, your 7th, your 6th, maybe. But obviously in this case, the Ferraris was 7th and 6th, so they were a bit lower down.
Or 3rd and 4th when you have Ricciardo, just saying.
Stop with the Ricciardo jokes, bro. He's the richest reserve driver ever.
He is. He is.
Yeah.
Listen, I really think McLaren should give Tim Cook a phone call because, Tim Cook is the CEO of Apple. Because
I didn't know that, to be honest.
So Tim Cook is, I think it's Tim Cook. I could be wrong. If anyone wants to fact check me and then just comment and say, Graham, you're stupid, you know nothing, by all means, I'll take it. But what I am trying to say is Zach Brown must give Apple a call because their reliability could be due to Android being their sponsor. You know what I mean? Google Android. So like it just could be one of those things, you know. Obviously, the whole world now knows what I use, but I'm just saying you should give Apple a call because obviously the Google Android sponsor is not it's not the most reliable one to have on the car. Anyways, moving on. Let's move on to the next segment. This podcast has become extremely long. but we're having fun, so that's fun. Okay, so the next one is top three. So basically, as we know from last week, the top three is basically we need to pick top three drivers of the race, and from that we will have to agree on who those top three are, and then we'll give them points accordingly. And then at the end of the season, we'll see who has the most points, and we'll crown them the break at the Apex champion of the world. Cool. So do you want to give me your top three first for a change? Because I feel like I've been speaking first on all the segments. So I feel like I'll give you a chance to go first, and then I'll give you my top three, and then we can play around with it. I don't think that we will have the same because I went out of the box with mine. And I went quite a bit down the order with mine.
Okay.
But obviously, yeah. Anyways, you go first, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. So I think my top three will be really like something that you would think that the top three is supposed to be like this. My number one is obviously Perez. My number two is Verstappen, and my number three is Russell.
All right. So Russell, I'd be happy to. I mean, considering the dog of a car he's driving, I'd be happy to look. I'd be happy to look at. But I'm gonna go with. First of all, I didn't mention Perez at all because if we, last week we said we're not gonna put Verstappen at one because we expect him to run away with it like that. If you look at the car, dude, you kind of have to expect that Perez is going to run away with it regardless. Verstappen started 15th. So to me, I didn't ever think that Verstappen was going to win that race either way. So I think Perez, to me, should have gotten away with it anyways. So my top three is Verstappen because he went from 15th to 2nd, which shock. Don't think that anybody in the world thought that would happen, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a joke. Everybody knew that was going to happen. Alonso said, listen, by halfway through, he's going to be... Actually, Alonso said by lap 25, he's going to be 2nd. And he overtook Alonso on lap 25. So Alonso called it perfectly, bro. That guy's a genius, I'm telling you. He's a genius. Anyways. Okay, my top three. Verstappen, Magnussen, Tsunoda. Hear me out. Cool.
Okay, cool.
Tsunoda did get lucky, but he kept the car. He kept the car there, and if you consider he's driving AlphaTauri, which I know we made a joke about McLaren being the new Williams, but AlphaTauri genuinely is the new Williams. They are terrible. They are slow.
Yeah.
And he kept it there for a long while. Magnussen Magnussen was in Q3, so Q1, so he started close to the back. And right at the end of the race, he passed Tsunoda to get that last point. So he had a pretty good race as well. So and I know there was a safety car involved, but you're looking at cars that didn't really have that much pace above the cars. Jeez, I can't speak English today. How did I say that? They didn't have that much pace comparing to the cars in front of them. So for them to have kept the pace to keep the car there, I just feel like you've got to give that to them, at least for Magnussen, because he ended up scoring the point in the first place. So for me, Verstappen, Magnussen, Tsunoda, but I'm happy to change Tsunoda for Russell because I think Russell did a great job. He beat Lewis Hamilton again, and and that car's not great. So let's be honest. If he got anywhere close to the podium, I mean, well done. He almost got a podium. Did you see? Sorry. Did you see Alonso's Instagram? George Russell posted about sharing third place and saying thank you, but he'll take it from here. And then obviously that was before it got overturned. But then it got overturned, and then the first comment was from Fernando Alonso with a picture of him looking at like this, saying "Hola." Like, yo, bro. Banter is real. Banter is real. Anyways, that Verstappen, Magnussen, Tsunoda, or Verstappen, Magnussen, Russell would then be my top three. So I don't know if you want to play around with that idea, or if you want to fight that one.
Yeah, I need to play around with it. Like we done 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. I would take away Verstappen, because obviously Verstappen is the reigning world champion. We know what he will do in the car. No, listen. We know what he's going to do with the car wherever he starts. We know that we'll land up in the top 5 or top 3 most occasions. Now, my thing is, that's why I chose Perez, because Perez kept the pace up. You understand what I'm saying? Kept the pace up. You got pole for qualifying. He won the race, and his pace was fairly good. At some point, maybe, because at some point I probably thought that Verstappen was going to come behind him steaming, and the team will be like, Perez, can you just move aside for Verstappen? Seems like he's faster than you. But no, Perez stuck to his pace. He was fast in that race and actually won the race. So
okay, let me counter this quickly, right? So just hear me out, right? First of all, Verstappen started 15th, bro. 15th. Yeah. The only person that's ever won a race from 15th is Alonso, which happened before I was born. No, it didn't, but it did happen. I'm actually quite old now that I think about it. But the point I'm trying to make, right, is he came from 15th, bro. It's not like he was second at qualifying. Also, let's just think about why we're doing this now, right? If we're going to go on your logic, that means Verstappen will never get points in this championship, right? Which means come the end of the year, he'll be the best driver, but he'll never get points in our championship. That wouldn't make any sense, would it?
I think it depends how you look at it. Sorry. It depends how you look at it, to be honest with you. He's viewed as the driver that we know. Okay, let me put it this way. He's the best driver in the grid for the last 3 years, right? Right? So you know his performance. You know what he's going to bring to you. Unless if he gets a DNF. So I don't see why we would actually put him in this list if he's not doing anything that we didn't expect. I'm not saying Perez didn't.
But he is.
Listen.
But he is.
Yeah, but do we expect him to do it every week?
Yeah, of course we do.
No,
look. Okay, look at. What? Like, just think about this. What is the point in even having him here then if we're never gonna? What does he need to do to get a point for our top 3?
Well, Verstappen.
Does he have to lap the entire field, including Perez, to get a top 3? Yeah.
Can I tell you something? Verstappen will only be here, right? If Red Bull goes backwards in a race, right?
That's not going to just happen, man.
We know. I'm just saying. We know that, but you never know, though. They could do like an upgrade in the car and it takes the car backwards in terms of performance. You don't know. We don't know that. So I'm just saying. But to be honest with you, we are dragging this. Listen, I'm gonna give it to you.
No, don't do that.
One makes sense. No, unless we're gonna take Perez, because come on, dude.
You see, my argument with Perez. So you got Verstappen at second, right? So technically, if I can rule Perez out of first, you would have to put Verstappen at first, because he would then be your next choice. And the reason why I'm ruling Perez out of first is because you said, Max, we expect him to do that. Why wouldn't you? But why wouldn't? My question is, with the car that they have, why wouldn't you expect Perez to do that?
Okay, quick question. Those 7 years, Mercedes was dominating. Did you expect Rosberg to win the championship?
No, but he didn't win it fairly, though. Lewis Hamilton had 2 more DNFs.
Listen, I'm asking you. When Mercedes was dominating for 7 years, did you expect Rosberg to beat Lewis Hamilton?
I didn't know. I'm sure some did, but I definitely did.
Exactly the same situation where Verstappen and Perez is. Yes, maybe Perez might win this championship this year. We don't know, but we don't expect him to win a championship.
But we're not talking about a championship, we're talking about a race.
I'm just saying, like,
must
listen. A championship is also performance based. So he did perform this race. That's what he done.
But Verstappen performed too. He performed in the last race as well, and he performed now. He went from 15th to 2nd. Perez, for example, what I'm trying to say is your thinking of Verstappen last week was you expect him to do that. I expected Perez to do that yesterday, because why wouldn't you? If you look at he's literally driving a rocket ship, like literally. There is nobody that can touch that car. If he didn't pull away, I would have been concerned. If he didn't do what he did, I would be saying it's probably best to bring Ricciardo and put him in that car. If he didn't do what he did. No, I'm genuine. If he didn't do what he did, I would have been concerned for him, because he's literally got the fastest car by a long shot. So he should have, by the time Max got to 2nd, he should have been a minute up the road already. He wasn't. That's what I'm trying to say. He was only 5 seconds ahead.
Yeah.
So I feel exactly.
Bad.
It's not bad, but it's not good. If Verstappen was first, where do you think Verstappen would be by the time Perez got to 2nd?
Like 15 seconds ahead?
Probably more, because he would have just gone. He would have just gone. Perez still got caught up in a struggle with Alonso at the beginning. Then he was still back and forth with pace and stuff. Max is putting his foot down and he's going. He's not messing around. All I'm trying to say is that I expected Perez to run away, and he didn't. Not as much as he did, or not as much as I thought he should have. The same way as we would have expected Max to run away with it if he was in the front. So I think that's just where I'm going with that, is that I expected Perez to actually do better. He did do very well. I'm not disregarding that. I'm just saying, if it was Max in the front, he would have been a good 15 to 20 seconds ahead. That's just my thought. But okay, let's do this. I'll tell you what. Because I don't like George Russell anymore. I used to. Seeing as I don't like him, I'm gonna push him off the top 3.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go Perez, Verstappen, Magnussen. Sorry, Perez, Verstappen, Magnussen.
Okay.
Would you agree with that?
I can agree with that.
Okay. Look at us making. I was gonna say making love, but that would have sounded really. I said it anyways, but okay. Point is, look at us agreeing here. That's great. Okay. Now, I'll be honest with you. I still think Perez should be here. I just don't think he should be first. I think he should be 2nd. But I'm going to go with it. Purely because he did win the race and he had a great weekend. He put it on pole. He actually had the perfect weekend, if you consider it. But in the race itself, I expected a bit more, if I'm really honest with you.
I mean,
but
to be honest with you,
we almost had the fastest lap too.
Yeah,
and then Max
but in qualifying, after Verstappen got that DNF for was out of qualifying session, like Red Bull actually put pressure on Perez to deliver that pole, and he did.
And so he did,
I think, yeah, dude, I think that counts as all. Yes, he was driving a rocket ship, but to put that type of pressure on a driver that is not used to, or not used to, but we're not really looking at Perez like to put the calm pole every weekend. We know Verstappen's going to do that, so you worked very, very good under pressure, I feel. So yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, cool. So we've agreed there. So Hülkenberg, Magnussen gets 1 point, Perez gets 3 points, Verstappen gets 2 points. Cool.
Yeah, and we know that we're in love with Hülkenberg. So talk about Hülkenberg. We're not you're in love with him. Jesus.
Yo. Suck my balls, mate. Suck my balls. Anyways, okay, let's move over to blooper of the week. And again, you can take it away with it. I'll give you mine afterwards. This is fun.
Can I say it for FIA? Can I say that?
Yeah, of course you could. You can say whatever you like. You could say that there was a rock on the floor. That was the blooper. I don't care. It's your blooper.
FIA is a blooper of the week. Stop making unnecessary decisions.
Absolute clowns. I agree 100%.
Let the people race. My advice to you: fucking stop giving people penalties for like this grid penalty. Not grid penalties. The way
position out of position.
Out of position. Sorry. Yeah.
Stop, and also, don't take 5 years to actually give you a penalty either.
Jeez, bro.
It'd also be nice if you gave us the, but any case, yeah.
So,
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Okay, my blooper is a McLaren. Mate, I don't know what to say. It's just I have a very soft spot for that team, just based on history, and I just don't know what to say. And maybe I do support Red Bull, so maybe it's not as emotional as you are about Ferrari, but I am emotional about the fact that McLaren are where they are. It is a very sad thing for me to see, and I was really enjoying the upward trajectory that they had up until now. So it's very, very sad to see. Bro, like I already said this, I'll say it again. They literally are becoming the new Williams right now. They just can't get anything right. I do think they have more pace in the car, and I'm pretty certain that they will get back to scoring points pretty soon. It's just right now nothing's going well for them. So McLaren, absolute bloopers, and I'll be honest. I was going to give a special mention to Ferrari. But I won't do that to you. Not today. Maybe another time.
Yeah. Don't go there.
Oh, all right. Okay, let's move on to our predictions from last week. Predictions from last week for you was Alonso, Leclerc, and Perez, which, I mean, you were way off. Leclerc, for one, wasn't even close. Perez... Also, you know what? You got 0 points. You got 0 points. No. Yeah, you did. You got 0 points. I actually put here that you got 1 point, but you actually got 0 because you get 1 point if you won away. Perez came first and Alonso came third, and Leclerc was in Jeddah city center. So basically they were Perez is 2 away and Alonso is 2 away. So you got 0. And my prediction was Max, Perez, and Leclerc, which I got 1 point for Max and 1 point for Perez because they were switched around basically. And I got 0 points for Leclerc because Leclerc was hiking up Table Mountain here in South Africa.
I got it.
Yeah. Sorry, okay, I'll stop now. But okay, so we level at the moment, but we'll get into that at another stage. Maybe later in the season, we'll go through our prediction points. Right, so we're going to keep this. Obviously, in the last one, we did have a wildcard prediction, but myself and BT have decided that we will cancel that. We're not going to do that wildcard prediction anymore. Perhaps at a later stage. For now, we're just going to keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid is what they say. And I'm quite stupid, so I'm going to keep it simple. For Australia, I've already written mine down. So while you think about yours, I'm going to just give you mine. I'm going to go with. You're going to love this. I'm going to go with Max first, Alonso second, and Stroll third.
What?
Argue with me, pal. Argue with me. Do it. Do it now. Argue with me now. Try it.
You're in a headache. You're a headache, to be honest with you. Oh, my goodness.
I do actually have a headache, but that's beside the point. I'm still here, ain't I?
I am not choosing Ferrari for Australia.
Oh, good. I wouldn't either. So, I mean, that's great. That's probably the best decision you've made in your life, to be fair.
So mine is wow. Mine is Max.
Go on. We've got all night.
Max.
Stroll.
Actually, scrap Max. Mine is Perez, Max, Alonso.
Mate, I'm telling you now, Stroll has a better chance of a podium than Perez beating Max in Australia.
No.
Okay, I'll tell you what, bro. I'll tell you what. If Perez beats Max, I will personally come to your house and I'll give you a kiss. Sound good?
Sound good?
Cool. Great. I'll kiss your feet.
I think Perez winning this race. It's gonna
giving him the fight.
It's gonna work on the psyche a bit. Boost the confidence.
It's put the dog in him. It's put the dog in him, yeah.
I mean, when he was driving for McLaren, when he was Jenson Button's teammate, he had that fire in him. Even though Jenson Button used to complain about him a lot over the radio, that he's right up his. Yeah. Can I actually swear here? Well, I can.
You already did actually, but I'll bleep it out.
Like I remember Button used to literally complain about Perez, literally complain about Perez, Perez most of the time is like not obeying team rules. The team will actually make sure Perez doesn't overtake Button in certain situations and stuff like that. He was just fiery. Yeah. And now, I guess at that time he was much younger, and now he's much older. But it would be nice to see that fiery Perez back again. If you could legit smell the title and smell that he can actually contend for the title. So I'm just going to go with Perez. I'm going to take a risk here. And Max second, and third, Alonso. Even though I think Alonso might be second, but yeah, cool.
Okay, so you're gonna go Perez, Max,
Alonso.
Okay, cool. Yeah. By the way, don't make Button out to be a crybaby. He's my favorite all-time driver. Leave the man alone. Okay. By the way, he's gonna drive NASCAR. He's driving NASCAR. I don't know if it's one. Yeah, it was announced during the week. I don't know if it's one race or if it's a whole series. Cool, I don't know. And I think Kimi is also there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyways,
any final thoughts? Anything you want to leave on the table? please do it now, and then we can call it a day.
Leclerc, can you call a second meeting, please, with the bosses? It's not good. It's not well at Ferrari.
The first meeting clearly didn't work anyway, so I don't think it really is going to make a difference.
Yeah, but on a serious note, though, season so far has been quite awesome.
It's interesting. I think it's very interesting. There's a lot of interesting things happening.
Yeah, I mean, this race was not really exciting or anything like that. But it's nice seeing the Ferraris and the Mercs and fighting it out. I think that was the most exciting part about that race. It's actually, of course, Alonso at the front doing what he does, not complaining for a change and smiling more. And for the Red Bulls it's nice to
the moon
see
and
them dominate.
In their rocket
it's nice to see. I do wish them for the rest of the year, but it's only 2 races so far. But we'll check the guys
I agree. It wasn't the most exciting Jeddah race. We've had 2 very, very exciting Jeddah races, so this one wasn't so great. But it was good enough. I'll tell you this. I have found this last 2 races to have some very interesting results. But I think, if I'm all honest with you, I think it's mostly the Aston Martin jump that has been very interesting, along with the Mercedes sort of downfall. That's been very interesting. I think as long as that continues, I think it's always going to be interesting. Even if the racing is not great, it's just going to be interesting. And seeing Alonso on the podium is just great. But anyways, we're going to call it a night, and we'll see you again at the next race, which is in 2 weeks' time in Australia. And hope you guys enjoy your week. Please like, subscribe, follow whatever platform you're on. We really would appreciate it. Like I said, if you're into F1, we'll give you F1 news, F1 funny content, F1 memes, anything F1. It's all over TikTok, all over YouTube. It's there. Just give us a follow, and you will see some fun things come up. And hopefully we can make you smile from time to time. That would be the aim. But other than that, guys, cheers. Thanks for joining us. And BT, have a great one. I will see you during the week. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers, guys. Cheers. Bye.